Before we go any further, let's look at a real-life product example which highlights the power of storytelling, which is something we're going to be doing a lot during this course. Let's use Duracell and Energizer as an example. I'm sure you're aware of these two brands, one more famous in Europe and the other one more famous in the States. But these are two of the biggest names in consumer batteries. As products go, batteries are pretty boring, unemotional and purely functional. Not a great recipe for storytelling. But when most people look at these two names, they're reminded not just of a famous story, but also a famous character, a pink rabbit. We don't see Duracell and Energizer, we see the Duracell bunny and the Energizer bunny. First used over 50 years ago and still alive in our collective brains. Why is this? This is because both of these brands spent millions in promoting their stories for a very simple story, the story of the Energizer and the Duracell bunny. And still to this day, they fight legal battles over millions about who owns the stories, all because of one pink rabbit. All because when you need new batteries, at that moment of purchase, we don't see the product, we see the story. And that moment of influence is the difference between success and failure for these brands. Still to this day, I have no idea which brand is better, or if either of these brands is better than a cheaper version. How could I? But I know the story, and that's what makes the difference in the mind of the consumer. Before we move on, let's look at another example and take the chance to complete a first activity. Significant Objects was a literary and anthropological experiment devised by Rob Walker and Joshua Glenn. It demonstrated that the effect of narrative on any given object's subjective value can be measured objectively. For this experiment, they purchased hundreds of charity shop objects at an average cost of $1.25. They then asked 200 contributing writers to write a short story for each individual object. They then put these back online, and once resold, they earned around $8,000 in total. This was a great experiment to highlight the power of product storytelling. You will instantly be able to see how adding a story to a product increases its value. With the following link, you are able to view all of these products,